Apple, 3 a.m.
Damn. How about some rich and creamy Angel Food ice cream? Right now. Let's close AOS books. We can close that. Hey, news. Ortiz redeemed meme ad. Hey, perfect timing. Is there a site that tells you the power level of your deck? Yes. I know that Moxfield already has it partially implemented, which is the best deck builder site, and if you're not using that one, you're annoying. I'm only 20% joking. And then I know Archidect, that site, that looks awful on desktop. Maybe it looks good on mobile, I'm not sure. That one has it implemented. Scryfall also does, and a lot of the websites pull from Scryfall. So they're already working on it. Wizards told them about it early so they could start implementing it. Moxfield has it for the main deck, but if you make changes, if you take stuff out, it'll never drop you down. But I feel like they're probably working on that one. Anyway, let's get it. Introducing Commander Brackets Beta. I wish this site had dark mode, but what are you going to do? Apologies, vampires. Gavin Verhey. Hello, everybody. This is Gavin Verhey on behalf of Commander Format Panel CFP. Very excited to share with you the beta test for our new Commander matchmaking system, Commander Brackets. In our last article, late October, talked about a system. I remember that one. It was before Las Vegas, and they said like 2 weeks. It's been a few months, but it was a big problem, and I didn't really like what they showed. So take your time. We're just out here playing Commander. Just get it, just get it right. No big deal. Put a lot of time and iteration into it as a group. It really was a big team effort. Today, we'll talk about them and share an updated roadmap for the future. Let's set some expectations. Good work. Number 1. I expect for many people who play Commander, nothing will change. You can continue to play with friends as you always have without digging into the system. And that's totally fine. Tons of regular play groups have figured out what works well for them, and that's great. However, as Commander has grown and become a fixture at game stores and big events, we want to create a common language to help people find well-paired games. Yeah, I agree. I'm sure many of you have had that experience of sitting down to play a game and quickly finding out the decks are operating at extremely different levels. I would think of this system as replacing the power level 1 to 10 scale where everybody's a 7, you know the meme. It's a tool to help you find Commander games you enjoy. One thing Commander has lacked is a good way to discuss what kind of game you want to play, and this helps provide additional terminology. Rule 0 still exists. You're certainly welcome to say, hey, I'm in bracket 2, except for this one thing. Is that okay with everybody? Having the conversation is great. Yeah, I have a Rule 0 talk every time I sit down at a table at a store or an event. I say, all right, here's my deck. Everybody asks what the power level is. I say 8. And then I'm like, I have 1 banned dexterity card. Is it okay that I'm playing with a Chaos Orb? And 100% of the time people say, yeah, it's okay. And that's my Rule 0 conversation. I bring with me a Vindicate just in case, because it's the same card. But nobody's turned me down yet. I want to see the flip, it's fun. Anyway. Number 2. This system, nor really any system, cannot stop bad actors. True, I was hoping they would bring that up. You know, Magic players hate them, but you can just lie. Well, it's twofold. You can just lie and no social system is going to stop you from lying. Besides, people don't tend to like to play against liars, right? So unless it's the first time you meet somebody, maybe there's that. And 2, sometimes you might have a person think that someone's lying, but actually they're terrible, right? That can also happen. It could just be a misunderstanding. The person says, my deck is a power level 7, and objectively that's true. And then you have a player with a power level 3 who thinks their deck is a power level 7, and thinks they know what a power level 7 is, but they're just wrong. And then they say the first person lied, right? So that it could be either or, and oftentimes it's a little bit of a mixture. And what I'm talking about is, yeah, there are just liars trying to get one over on people, but I think more often the case is that everybody's got a different idea about what is casual, what isn't casual, what's fun and what's not, what a power level 7 means and what isn't. And I think if one person rounds up and the other person rounds down, now you got a 4 split, right? So I think that happens. And, you know, you're probably not going to stop that, but I don't know that there's any way to stop that. You can define your terms a little better, which I think is what they're trying to do here. So anyway. Lying doesn't stop bad games, but it does prevent rematches. Yeah, there's that. Yeah. What new players think is OP is adorable. Yeah, but you can't give them... We can laugh, but we're not cruelly laughing. Everybody was there at one time, right? So. A lot of people just want to play games in earnest. P. Worrell? Ernest goes to a Magic Con? I want to watch that movie. And this aims to help in that regard. There are many ways to game the system. Also, Magic players are trained, like the game trains you to game systems, if that makes sense. Some people just can't help themselves. Be honest with yourself and others as you play with them. And number 3, I want to stress that this is a beta test. Your feedback is going to be critical. I'm going to issue some feedback, probably. Maybe I'll make a video about it real quick. While we are excited about this, we also be very surprised if it was perfect. So please, I encourage you to tell us your thoughts. Commander channel and the official Magic Gathering Discord. It's a great place, as well as other social media outlets. Getting older has taught you love giving feedback. I love giving feedback. True, but I don't know how many more times I can have the counter spells or OP conversation. Well, there is that. Another place we'll be watching the feedback for is MagicCon Chicago. I want to be sure to have this out ahead of the event so we can see it put into action there. A portion of the command zone will be designed for testing this, and I expect members of CFP Wizards staff will be stopping by. Oh, hey, good idea. They're like, good. Yeah. Try it in real life, see how it works. This is an iterative process. Commander brackets overview. There are 5 commander brackets. We're up from 4. And now we're at 5, which is actually half of what there used to be, which is 10. 10 was obviously too many. Simply having it probably... Yeah, I think I'm fine with there being 5. I think it is okay to have an exact middle of the road, to have a 3 out of 10. Or... a 3 out of 5. I think that's okay. Everyone probably gravitates towards that in any case. You don't have to make a massive choice between 2 out of 4 or 3 out of 4. I think that splits a lot. So I like adding a 5th one here. So far, so good. Each one is meant to classify a different kind of game experience. Brackets 1, 2, and 3 are different levels of socially focused play. I feel like we're using euphemisms here. My high power commander games are very social, but you know, I guess that depends on what you mean by all this, right? Brackets 4 and 5 are focused on a higher power or even a competitive experience. Oh, so they tacked on CEDH to 5. So really it is 4. And then they just duct taped CEDH at the very top, I think. I get it. I don't think bracket 4 is super serious and not social, but I guess we're going by the general consensus here. In each bracket description, you'll also find guidance around 4 kinds of effects that can really impact games. 2-card infinite combos, extra turns, mass land denial. Okay, so we're grouping up Armageddons and Winter Orbs into the same pile, which I think is fair, you know. And tutors for things other than lands. Now you've lost me. That one is weird to me. 2-card infinite combos, sure. Extra turns, sure. Like 2-card infinite combos end the game immediately out of nowhere, potentially really early, and so I hear a lot of people not like that. Extra turns hog the time at the table. You're being selfish, right, in a certain respect. And that's kind of a faux pas. I get that. Mass land denial is just a collection of the saltiest cards ever that no one ever wants to play against. I get that. Why is tutors on this list? Who gives a shit if you're tutoring for something? It's what you tutor for that matters, not that you are tutoring, right? This one's weird. I would have said speed, right? Like, how fast is it? To me, the speed of the deck matters, especially when you're talking about these things, a lot more than whether you have a diabolic tutor in your deck or not. But maybe they'll explain themselves. For things other than lands, there's some really good lands to tutor for. I don't know if I would even make that distinction. Maybe non-basic lands. Noting where and how you should expect to see them. Yeah. Tutors make your deck more consistent, and consistency is power. Yeah. Right. But I mean, so does draw, and they didn't say how many cards you can draw, right? If I play with cards that cause me to flip coins, is that, oh, maybe. Primetime only tutors lands. He's fine. Yeah, we're unbanning him. It's easy. For a little bit of additional definition around mass land denial, this is a category of card that most Commander players find frustrating. Yes, obviously agree. So to emphasize it up front, you should not expect to see these cards anywhere in brackets 1 to 3. I haven't been used to seeing them anywhere in all of Commander, actually. Right? Because, well, when you call it mass land denial rather than mass land destruction, I guess, not true. Yeah, mass land denial is basically a CEDH only thing. I'm strange that they're calling out 4. I wonder what the definition of bracket 4 is going to be. Unconditional tutors are very good, obviously, but I'm tutoring for Goblin Game. That's kind of how I feel about it. I feel like low-power decks are typically using tutors to find the weird card their deck is built around besides their commander. Like, a low-power deck would tutor for Dovin's Acuity so they can play their instance on my own turn deck. Or find Norn the Wary, who's the secret commander, right away. Or I'm going to Vampiric Tutor right away so I can get Ozolith, so that when my commander dies, I don't have to rebuild for 6 turns. And all those things are fine, and you're just doing low-power things with those cards, right? And then mid-power commander decks are playing tutors like Richard Garfield intended. You know, they're finding answers like Toxic Deluge, and they're finding protection like Lightning Greaves, and they're finding win cons on turn 10. And so that feels like it belongs in mid-power commander, right? And then high-power commander is searching for probably the whole list of the problematic cards they talk about. They're looking for the One Ring, they're looking for Cyclonic Rift so they can win. You know, they're looking for their two-card combo that wins on turn 6 or 10. It's just a better win con than the other ones. And then in CEDH, you're just tutoring for Rhystic Study. I'm only half joking. Half the time you're just tutoring for Rhystic Study, and the other half of the time you're just playing a vintage deck, right? So you're finding a solution to whatever problem you see at the table, real or imagined, right? Like Ancestral Recall draws you cards, but if you only have bad cards, I mean, it's still a powerful card, but okay. Anyway, yeah, that or Necro, I guess. I disagree with this tutor thing being here, but maybe they'll explain themselves and then I'll agree. Anyway, these cards regularly destroy, exile, and bounce other lands, keep them tapped, or change what mana is produced by 4 or more lands per player without replacing them. Examples in this category are Armageddon, Ruination, Sunder, Winter Orb, and Blood Moon. And Contamination, Bitter Blossom, and Stasis, and whatever, Decree of Annihilation, and on and on and on, right? The things that no one ever wants to play against, basically. Basically, any cards in common game plans that mess with several of people's lands or the mana they produce should not be in your deck if you're seeking to play in brackets 1 through 3. Okay. And winning on top of another person trying to win with flash enablers. Very true, yeah. Crop rotating for a land that you can sacrifice to instant speed, you know. Try to win in response to someone trying to win. What about tutors with really terrible rates, like the 4-mana ones they print nowadays? I don't think that matters nearly as much as what your mindset is when you're building the deck and playing it. If you're putting tutors in a bad deck to find a bad funny card early because you want to play Shared Fates, and that's what the deck's about, then I think that's fine. And if you're playing a good tutor to find a bad card, then that's the type of commander you're trying to play. And if you're using a good tutor to find a good card, then you're at bracket 3, and if you're playing a good tutor to find a broken card, then you're playing 4. But then again, we'll see what this whole thing is. Additionally, you'll see some references to game changers. I saw this name. I think this is a good name. This is a good idea. Game changers. This is a new small list of cards that we'll share at the end that these brackets refer to and are cards targeted at higher bracket play. Okay, so game changers are like, let me guess, the One Ring, Necropotence, Thassa's Oracle, maybe Smothering Tithe, Rhystic Study. Just the cards that are supremely powerful and kind of warp a game, but aren't worth banning. I wonder how much salt is going to go into the game changers or not. Maybe Teferi's Protection, depending on how much salt matters versus power level. Gaia's Cradle obviously belongs on the list. Probably Cabal Coffers 2, probably Sarah's Sanctum 2, you know, just things that probably maybe should be banned if the game was as casual as they pretend it is, but we like to play high power, so we're not going to ban them. Thieves' Auction changes the game. I consider Thieves' Auction to be like an Armageddon, kinda. I wonder if Mystic Remor is going in, because it sucks if you're not playing high power decks. Anyway, the 5 brackets. Oh, okay. I saw this image because I had to make a thumbnail, but now I'm really going to look at it. Number 1 is Exhibition. Your ultra casual commander deck. No mass land denial or extra turns. Oh, they call out extra turns here because you're hogging time. No 2-card infinite combos. No game changes. But still a few tutors. Okay, I thought I was losing the battle because I am pro tutors, and it seems like the zeitgeist of commander players hate tutors from a not unreasonable philosophical position that I don't think bears any relevance to the actual game today or on tables or anything like that. I thought I was losing the tutor fight and I would see no tutors over here. But even in Exhibition 1, we have a few. Okay, so maybe there's hope for the tutor defenders out there. Stoneforge Mystic. Still okay. Still legal in the state of California. You can have 1 or 2 tutors as a treat. Wish Claw is one of your favorite tutors. What about the Symmetry one where it's the black card that you and somebody else get to both tutor? That thing's kind of funny. Anyway, no mass landed now or extra turns. Yeah, all that shit is annoying, so I agree. No 2-card infinites. I don't, I like 2-card infinites, but obviously this is Expedition 1, so sure. No game changers. but still a few tutors. Sure, yeah, do that. Okay. So this is like the I put together a commander deck out of a shoebox and I don't know how to play. Or I'm trying to do something silly-willy and I don't want anyone to be doing anything like good, and we're trying to have a weird like Mel Vorthos kind of game. And I don't see why there can't be room for that sort of people. Is that a precon is 2. Okay. Do we really need a bracket level for draft chaff? Maybe I'm being too critical. You could build a really powerful commander deck out of this, actually, if you wanted to. It'd be against the spirit of everything, but you could certainly do it, right? Number 2 is core. The average current pre-constructed deck. No mass land denial. But extra turns are fine as long as you don't chain them. I think I disagree. I think the average casual players are like no extra turns at all until we get to maybe the middle of the road, and even then I'm not sure. Maybe I'm more conservative with extra turns than I am with tutors, and it's just how everybody feels about that. No 2-card infinite combos, no game changers, and a few tutors. I'm assuming a few means 3. Are there some precons that gave extra turns, and that's why this decision was made? No, because I'm sure there's going to be game changers that are in precons. Well, maybe not, actually. If you're going to have a bunch of precons, then it behooves you not to make any of them kind of illegal in the precon tier. Maybe they'll explain themselves later on. Upgraded, beyond the strength of an average precon. No mass land denial, no chaining extra turns, but extra turns are fine. I don't know about that, but late game 2-card infinite. Oh, cool. I like this. Very good point here. Late game 2-card infinite combos are fine. It is about, yeah, they finally mentioned speed somewhere, right? Winning with an infinite combo on turn 4 is very, very different than winning with an infinite combo on turn 13 after 2 hours. I think meaningfully different. So good call out here. Yeah. You gotta win somehow. If it's late game, fucking try to win. Let's play another one, right? And you can play 3 game changers. Not 4, but 3. Exactly 3. I'm sure every commander deck I have has exactly 4, I'm sure. Because it's just gonna have to be like that, right? 4 is right out, yeah. The anti-Yak game changer system. You can't play 2 either, you have to have 3. You know, you joke about that, but I think that's going to happen. When they say something like you can play 3 game changers, I think a lot of people are going to open up deck lists and they're going to notice that they have 2. And they're going to be like, well, they're going to be like Bilbo holding the ring. After all, why shouldn't I? You know, I can put 1 more in. It doesn't change anything. I think it actually, interestingly, if your deck is already a 3 and you have like 1 game changer, I think subconsciously you're just gonna like put 2 more in or feel that push, maybe. But, you know, what are they gonna do? Not say a number? I think that's just a natural downside to spelling it out in any case. Yeah, why should I leave my own power on the table? And then optimized, high power commander. This is where I play. This is the type of commander that I like. Is optimized, high power commander. Essentially like a battle cruiser legacy deck in commander form. Very much not CEDH whatsoever. And not including the saltiest cards ever, really. Just like, let me play with the most overpowered cards ever in a battlecruiser style casual format, right? This is where I tend to live. High power commander, it's time to go wild. Do whatever the fuck you want. That's a big difference. Okay. There's like a wall built right here. This is like the wall of the North in A Song of Ice and Fire. This is a massive wall. Between no land denial, no chaining extra turns, only late game 2-card infinites, 3 game changers, and then do whatever the fuck you want. 14 infinite turns and fogs dot deck. You know, hey, you like whatever, you like 4 game changers in your deck. That means you love Stasis and Armageddon and Scrambleverse, or whatever the most annoying cards are ever. I don't know about that. I think there's, to me, how do I say this in a way? And then it's just CEDH, which is fine, right? I think that either there needs to be a 3.5, or we need to better define the difference between 3 and 4 here. To me, there's a big difference between I like to play a pile of legacy cards as a battlecruiser format versus we love the meanest, saltiest, most annoying cards ever, and we want to play against all of them all the time. To me, that's 2 very different things. But maybe I'm a weirdo. Like, I want to play with Demonic Tutor. That doesn't mean I want to play against Sunder and Blood Moon and Winter Orb and Armageddon and, you know. Well, maybe they'll explain themselves, but it seems like we're leaping off a cliff after 3. SG Arcade thinks it's a tier 1 the Saturni Rose. Oh, good, yeah. They were watching ads, which is not okay. So thanks for saving. What are game changers? They're... Okay, they talk about them later. I just looked. They're easing us into it, it seems. So, good question. Throw down your Alter Casual Commander deck, bracket 1. Winning is not the primary goal here, as it's more about showing off something unusual you've made. This sentence is true for every single bracket except for 5. I'm gonna put my foot down about that and make a declarative statement. This is the essence of Commander, whether you like Demonic Tutor, or Dovin's a Cutie, or Norin the Wary, or Ladies Looking Left. And even 5 contains some of it. But primary goal in CEDH is for sure to win, obviously. But yeah, this is tier 1, 2, 3, and 4. For sure. That's the whole point of Commander, right? So I don't know. I'm already pumping the brakes a little bit here. Saturni, thanks for passing it forward to the Wild Gooseberry. Ladies looking left, man. It should be noted that the ladies are looking right in the photo. Villains yelling in the art. Everyone has the number 4. Oops, all horses. Dude, there's actually a really good horse that makes indestructible horses if you gain life that turn. That's actually a good card. Anyway, those are all for a game. The games here are likely to go long and end slowly. Well, hold on that partner. Just focus on having fun and enjoying what the table has brought. Yeah, you can copy-paste this sentence all the way out. Powerful doesn't mean not fun. There are cards that are fun and not fun. And there's opinions. Deck building, no game changers. Yeah. This reference is average. Okay, here's how they fixed that. I just saw that. Current pre-constructed deck. Okay, this is how they fixed that problem that you talked about in chat there. Current pre-constructed deck. So like Panslaza Dinosaurs, which is actually pretty good. Like, that deck can have some good draws in it and just kill people, right? CEDH is super fun to me. Yeah, but casual people have this problem where a lot of times they have a monopoly, or they think they have a monopoly on what the word fun means. But, you know, it's fine. Tyranid Precon is wild. While Bracket 2 decks may not have every perfect card, they have the potential for big, splashy turns, strong engines, and are built in a way that works towards winning the game. While the game is unlikely to end out of nowhere, ooh, I don't know about that one, and generally goes 9 or more turns, you can expect big swings. The deck usually has some cards that aren't perfect from a gameplay perspective, but are there for flavor reasons, or just because they bring a smile to your face. Yeah, I get the impression that they want, yeah, that sounds like normal Commander to me, right? But also, you know, obviously a casual person isn't going to find CEDH fun, but I'm not going to find Bracket 1 fun. Playing with a pile of cards from a shoebox versus every card starts with F, the deck, against people who it's their third game of Magic ever, that, to me, that would be like a punishment. That sounds miserable. I would have negative fun, and I would be forced into a role of kind of teaching everyone how to play the fucking game and explaining the rules to them. Like that, to me, that sounds miserable, but I'm not going to say that's not fun. It's just that I don't find it fun. Anyway. Bracket 3 upgraded. Souped up and ready to play beyond the strength of an average pre-constructed deck. Full of carefully selected cards, with work having gone into figuring out the best card for each slot. The games tend to be a little faster as well, ending a turn or two sooner than your core decks. I don't know that what turn the game ends on is too huge, but obviously turn 4 is too fast and turn 10 is fine, but like there's a difference between the overall like speed of a deck and the exact turn it wins on, I think, in a casual format like this. There's also where players can begin playing up to 3 cards from the game changes. We can change the game, amping up the decks further. Of course, it doesn't have to have any game changers to be a Bracket 3 deck, but the fact that you can have 3 means people will want to put exactly 3 in, I think. Many decks are more powerful than a pre-constructed deck, even without them. Yeah, that you could probably construct a tier 1 deck that destroys tier 4 decks. Like, you could just do that, right? I think a lot of Johnnies out there will, as a funny thought exercise, just build the most powerful Bracket 1 decks they can. I mean, they're not going to subject any humans to it, but it's like a fun exercise. I'm thinking about doing that. Like, that could be fun, you know. Comics Build. Heard you on the Poor Hammer podcast today. Great episode. Very interesting. Hey, thanks for enjoying it. It was fun to have him on. I thought we had a good, you know, rapport, if you will. I hope the video does well enough so that I can be on there again. That should be nice. Yeah, competitive Bracket 1. I want to see it. Bracket 4 is optimized. It's time to go wild. Bring out your strongest decks and cards. You can expect to see explosive starts, strong tutas, cheap combos that end games, mass land destruction, usually not, to be honest, or a deck full of cards off the game changers list. This is a high-powered commander, and games have the potential to end quickly. Focus here is on bringing... So they are talking about speed a little bit here, and I think that's important. It's about shuffling up your strong and fully optimized deck, whatever it may be, and seeing how it fares. For most commander players, these are the highest power commander decks you will interact with. Yeah, that's true. As much as I say that there's a cliff you fall off after 3 before 4, but as far as they describe it, you need a passcode to enter Bracket 5. Which is why I think a bracket system can possibly work, because CEDH, the concept of CEDH has worked, right? I think we could admit, like, you go to a table and you're like, hey, you want to play Commander? Yeah, but not CEDH, right? You're never going to accidentally find yourself in a CEDH game. And that barrier has worked pretty well, you know. I don't want to play CEDH, personally. And I haven't been in danger of doing so, because you got to, like, do that on purpose, right? What tier has watched two guys jack off for 6 turns while you draw 0 lands? You know, you can have that experience in any bracket. Don't worry about it. Mindset is a key part of that description. Much of it is in how you approach the format and deck building, but usually 4. 3 or 4. No, that's wrong. Really, truly, that is the nature of Commander. It requires careful planning. There is care paid into following and paying attention to a metagame, tournament structure, and no sacrifices are made in deck building as you try to be the one to win the pod. I mean, there is still a bit of a design restriction, just a bit, about like who the commander is or what colors you're in, I think. But for the most part, they're trying to describe the mindset. I think it's fine. I'm nitpicking here. Additionally, there is special care and attention paid to behavior and tableside negotiations, such as not making spite plays or concessions that play into the tournament structure. I don't think you should do spite plays or concessions at lower tables either, but I know what they're talking about here, and it's not really that. CDH, or competitive commander, and similar names is where winning matters more than self-expression. Look at the definition of the Spike psychographic profile and shake your head. Winning is the self-expression, but so is playing optimally, being perfect, and making like ingenious calls and plays and guesses and stuff. You are expressing yourself through the play and the decision tree and winning, but it's not a psychographic profile article, but I would quibble with that. You're here to express my truth. Yeah, persona. Seems a bit lopsided towards the bottom. Yes. Right after this, we get to game changers, and I'll read about those in a moment, because that's probably going to be a whole thing, right? But as I scroll up here, 1, 2, and 3 are very close to each other, and there's a clear progression that's actually pretty minor, right? Infinite turns are fine, just no chaining them, right? And infinite turns are fine, extra turns are fine, but no chaining them, right? Versus no extra turns at all. Versus you don't want any 2-card infinites. Versus late game 2-card infinites, right? No game changes versus 3. We're climbing a step ladder, and then we're jumping off the edge of the globe, which is flat and just floating in space with optimized. They took great care to differentiate these, I think, in meaningful ways. And then 4 is just fuck it. Play with the entire page 1 and 2 of the saltiest cards list. I think that's wrong. I think there's a big difference between high power battlecruiser and playing with all the dickhead cards. I don't know if we need 2 here or a better transition or what. 4 is a big tent, but okay. You have expressed yourself with surprise infinite squirrels. Yeah. It's just a squirrel nest. Don't worry about it. You don't like that there's not a meaningful difference between 4 and 5 other than mentality? Yeah, I agree as well. There isn't enough. I mean, to me, there's a big and obviously huge difference between high power and CDH. The way they explain it here is like, just don't pay attention to the metagame, and you can play ad nauseum tendrils in optimized. Like, who gives it? I don't think that's true. Yeah, 4 is the least. Maybe it's because the people working on it understand this one the least. They got CEDH players that very well understand CEDH on their team, and they clearly have these 3. Maybe they don't have a lot of high power battlecruiser ass ex former legacy player people on their team. that this one is the least well-defined and also the biggest catch-all. CEDH will always be the easiest bracket to balance. Yeah, because you don't balance it. Just play whatever you want and do whatever you want. At a certain point, if one deck or one card is winning 80% of the time, then maybe ban it. But aside from that, just leave them alone. They're having fun in their corner, and never the, normal commander players versus CEDH, never the two shall meet. Anyway, let's talk about the game changer list, because this is going to flavor the rest of my discussion. I want to know. What is the game changer list? You saw several mentions of this list above. This is something new that we want to introduce. We think it will be a huge help for matchmaking and understanding the format. Game changers dramatically warp commander games, allowing players to run away with resources, shift games in ways that many players dislike, block people from play, efficiently search for their strongest cards, or have commanders that tend to take away from more casual games. Unlike some previous systems that we discussed, it's only a single additional list to track. Okay? So there could have been more additional lists to track, but they wanted it to just be one list. So, allowing players to run away with resources, Gaia's Cradle, Sarah's Sanctum, Cabal Coffers probably. Shift games in ways that many players dislike, every card on the salt list. Block people from play, every card on the salt list. Efficiently search for their strongest cards. So, Demonic Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, right? Or have commanders that tend to take away from more casual games, which is a lot of commanders, actually. I don't know. Did they just choose a bunch of CEDH commanders and put them in that pile? Or maybe it's stuff like Turgrid, where if you play this, everyone's going to hate you, but it's not actually like that powerful necessarily, so you just can. In addition to that function, you can imagine this as sort of a watch list. Oh. Any future bans are likely to come from this list, save for maybe something that shows up in a new set and immediately causes problems, like Nadu. Yeah. Deserved. Similarly, unbanned cards are likely to end up here. Okay, so it's a stepping stone. This creates a nice half step between the ban list and showing up everywhere. It also really helps ensure that you know what cards we have our eyes on, so cards won't feel like they're banned out of nowhere in the future, which did happen with Jeweled Lotus and some other stuff. Maybe Gaia's Cradle, but you don't feel strongly about it. I think Gaia's Cradle is for sure in here. All the lands that tap for $1 billion. Even Cabal Coffers probably belongs on the list, even though it's for sure weaker, than Cradle and Sarah's Sanctum and stuff. Shiva and Gorge maybe from the same cycle, am I right? It also gives us a tool to unban cards to try them or nudge around cards without a ban needed. If a card shows up and is frustrating at casual tables but find it competitive by competitive players, like Dockside, we can add it to the Game Changers list instead of ban it for everyone in an update to get it to the right place. Does this mean we're unbanning Jeweled Lotus and Dockside and just making them Game Changers? Actually, I don't even think Jeweled Lotus deserves to be a Game Changer. It's not even that good. But I'm a known Jeweled Lotus down player, I guess. Like, it's strong in certain CEDH piles, and it's strong in certain, mono and two-color commanders, kinda, but... Unban everything, and let's start over with Game Changers. Unban Lotus and Golos. Golos is the one time where I have the probably unpopular opinion that it was entirely correct to ban Golos. But that's my super hot take, I guess. They were entirely right to do it. I had a Golos deck, and it was my favorite commander deck. And they banned it out from under me, and their reasoning was sound. They were correct. It's not unlike how Commander and Highlander adjust points every now and then. Sure, okay. Now, to be clear, most of these cards are unlikely to be banned. Oh, good, they're letting us know. So this isn't like a watch list. And here we have Guy's Cradle, that's no surprise. It's good that they point this out. You shouldn't go trading away your Guy's Cradles for $3,000 worth of stuff in Concern. However, it is a clear signal for players to know that these cards indicate a different kind of play, and that others might prefer not to play against them. We've all discussed a lot what we felt should be on the list to make it useful but manageable, and ended up at exactly 40 cards. That number being round is just a coincidence. The list doesn't always have to be 40 cards. I like how they have reminder text here. That's fun. Before you start looking into it. Here's our initial Game Changers list for the Commander Brackets beta test. Should we play a game? Guess the card. Can I guess all 40? Can I guess 5? Strapping in. They already said tutors, so I'm just gonna name the best tutors. Demonic Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, Imperial Seal. None of the other ones are good enough to warrant it. What were their other categories? Let's see if... Obviously Guy's Cradle's on there, so is Sarah's Sanctum. I think maybe Cabal Coffers could be... The thing is, like... Cabal Coffers is like a power level 3 card, and I don't think it's okay in 1 and 2. But if we're talking about Game Changers... Yeah, I think Cabal Coffers might be worth it. Cabal Coffers is kind of like no big deal up here, but I think putting it in your weak deck really changes it. Worldly Tutor, Craterhoof? No. No, the Game Changers are noted by color, not the reason for being added, okay. You have guessed 10 of them so far. What were their reasoning here? There's some sentence, right? Game Changers dramatically warp Commander games, allowing players to run away with resources. So we... Smothering Tithe, Rhystic Study. We'll add that to the list. Those are obvious. The One Ring, obviously on there. What else runs away with resources in crazy ways? Stuff like Consecrated Sphinx, maybe, but like... I think modern day design looks at it and says it costs 6, and so they don't care. Oh, Necropotence, maybe. Necropotence, Ad Nauseam. Possibly the new Necropotence. Esper Sentinel. No, it draws 0 cards in casual games, and it draws 1 card per turn maximum in high power games, so I don't think that's good enough. I don't think Mystic Remora goes in either, even though it's arguably sometimes better than Rhystic Study. If they're putting in Vampiric Tutor... Okay, I remember their previous list had Mystical Tutor in it. And it also had Personal Tutor, which is a terrible card. I hope they've gotten a little smarter about that. But... There's a card that makes a lot of treasures. Have you named it? I named Smothering Tide. That makes a lot of treasures. Unless they've unbanned Dockside and put them on the Game Changer list, but I don't think they did that. There are 4 multicolor cards. I can't think of any multicolor cards that belong on a Game Changers list. They're probably commanders, I bet, if that's the case. Shift games in ways that many players dislike. So like Scrambleverse and Thieves Auction and stuff? No. Because those are just salty cards. Gamble, yet another one-mana tutor? Nah. Shift games in ways that many players dislike. Oh, could Farewell be on the list? Maybe. I hear a lot of casual people complain about that. Maybe Farewell, maybe Teferi's Protection. I'm trying to think of salty, like, kind of casual-ish cards. Cyclonic Rift, maybe. Block people from play. Who's that 2-mana guy that stops you from casting your commander? That's got to be there. Who's the Notion Thief for tutoring your library? That guy's probably on there. 3-mana Teferi, 3-mana Narset maybe, but I don't know about that. Yeah, maybe some hate bears like Gaddock Teague, possibly. Yeah, Draneth Magistrate, maybe. Gaddock Teague, maybe. The black creature I can never remember the name of. Humility, maybe. Farewell, maybe. Even though it sounds silly, like maybe even Rest in Peace or something. Just super narrow, like, turns off an entire deck strategy style cards. Grand Arbiter. There's so many effects like that, though, that it seems weird to just say Grand Arbiter, but he is the cheapest. Efficiently search for their strongest cards. Ugh, gross. Or have commanders that tend to take away from more casual... Okay, so just like commanders everyone hates to play against. Or mistake commanders, like, half of the commanders with Eminence. What's the...
Which prime?
What's the Eminence commander everyone hates? Backside of the TV, thanks to the Prime. Thanks for the 9 months. You returned, although it's not like you did anything when you... Don't worry about it. Maybe this is like a warning everyone hates when you play this commander or whatever. Yeah, Dragon, Edgar Markov, Commander Ninjutsu, Turgrid. What are some other commanders that, like, you reveal it as the commander and everyone decides to just kill you? The Golgari commander that just resummons Spore Frog every turn. Mirren the Moaning Well. Although Muldrotha is kind of now, that's sort of like a... Oh, the dude that sacrificed, the super sacrifice dragon in Jund, maybe. Derevi, maybe in 2014, but I think Derevi is actually kind of weak now. Oh, I know, I just thought about something. You can't tell me. Okay. I think they're wrong about tutors, but it makes sense in a certain way. I just think they're wrong about it. Right? We disagree. You know how we always make fun of them for saying that Arcane Signet was a big mistake? Like a terrible mistake that they created a card that lets non-green decks get fucking 1 mana for 2, right? The free cards, the ones where if your commander's out, they're free. Those. Please don't tell me that those are on this list. Well, the good ones from it. That would be embarrassing. trying to think of other stuff. What's other stuff that just isn't okay, right? A single commander in the game changers list is going to have a lot more of an effect than most anything in there from the 99. Yeah, I agree with that as well. Yeah. You've not guessed any of the red game changers? Blood Moon, maybe? Now I'm thinking about salty cards. Yeah, Blood Moon, maybe. Is there even a red card that... Oh, what's the red Yawgmoth's Will for 2? That's an enchantment, that one. It's the last good red card left-ish. Yeah. Breach, yeah. Is that it? Is that the one? We're up to 15. I'm trying to think if there's a single other red card. Okay, if the commander free ones are on there, which would be embarrassing for them and the whole community, then Deflecting Swat. Because it's arguably better than Fierce in the average commander game, right? I think. It's more brutal, in other words. You'll be shocked about some of the exclusions. I probably talked about a lot of exclusions. All right, SJ, we're cutting it. We're going. Game changers. White. Is there... Oh, hold on. Oh, cool. I get to slow roll it even longer. Surely I'm going to see Arcane Signet in here, right? Because it was such a mistake. Click here to see game changers in the deck. Yeah, show me the deck list view. Ancient Tome. Oh yeah, I should have thought of this. I agree. Ancient Tome, or Ancient Tomb, I should say. Yep, that is correct. If Ancient Tomb is in your deck, then you're doing some game changing. Fair enough. So they're going after fast mana. I don't disagree. Chrome Mox. Yeah, the downside is big enough that if you actually are playing it, you're probably doing something unfair. Because a weaker deck with Chrome Mox couldn't afford the card disadvantage to use it, I don't think. And Chrome Mox is especially good when you draw a million cards and you need to make a bunch of things. So yeah, that makes sense. A game changer. The One Ring. Yep. It's the game changer. Tabernacle. Well, just expensive cards, I guess, that I'll never see on the table ever. Okay. I like kind of disagree, but I guess it follows a little bit of their philosophy of a certain way of being able to play or not being able to play your stuff. It just means you can't go wide, right? I just don't think anyone ever plays against this card. 10 people in the world have ever played against Tabernacle, and 9 of those people, it was printed out on a piece of paper. But hey, alright. Trinisphere. Who's putting Trinisphere in a deck that isn't CEDH? I mean, you can't... I don't think you can argue that Trinisphere isn't a game changer, but it's a game changer in CEDH, yeah. Dude, if I played a Trinisphere in a bracket 1 game, no one would even notice. Everything costs 3 or more anyway. I think Trinisphere, that's weird. This is a weird addition. I bet if I played a Trinisphere in a bracket 1 or 2 game, it could be the case that no one would notice it for 3 entire turns. And so what is the you're like not allowed to play Trinisphere in the type of games that it's bad in anyway. Is this to keep Trinisphere out of exactly number 3? That's weird. I don't know if I agree with that one. That one seems superfluous. Who's trying to slip Trinisphere into the average Commander game? Maybe, I guess somebody. Mustard, Poor Hammer collab was good. Hey, thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope that video does well enough for me to get invited back. Anyway, thanks for watching it. Trinisphere, weird choice. Grim Monolith, yeah, sure. Nobody's doing anything fair with that. Giga Infinites everywhere. Lion's Eye Diamond, sure. Mox Diamond. The only reason this card is here is because it's expensive. That's it. I disagree with putting cards on this list only for money, right? Mox Diamond is worse than Mox Opal in like 90% of decks that could play it, right? I kind of get Chrome Mox. I don't know if I get Mox Diamond, especially without seeing Opal here. This just seems like we searched for every card that cost $700 and put the playable ones on here. Tabernacle, weird. Monovault, sure, and Glacial Chasm. Crop Rotate in the Glacial Chasm one too many times and it showed up on the list. Well, okay, fair enough. So far, this is a mixed bag for me. I easily agree with the One Ring, Ancient Tomb, Grim Monolith, Lion's Eye Diamond, Glacial Chasm, Monovault, maybe. Mox Diamond seems like it's here because it's really expensive. Chrome Mox, kind of the same thing. Tabernacle, kind of the same thing. Trinisphere just seems out of place. Did you agree with Grim and Lion's Eye? Oh, we're keeping track? Okay, well, how much wiggle room do I get? Do I have to say yes or no? Or do I have to be like, maybe, kinda no? Like, for your yay, mid, or nay? Okay. Ancient Tomb. Agree. Chrome Mox. Maybe. The One Ring. Agree. Tabernacle. Who cares? Maybe. Trinisphere, disagree. It just isn't doing anything in the levels that would restrict it anyway. Grim Monolith, agree. Lion's Eye Diamond. Maybe. Mox Diamond, maybe. Actually, Mox Diamond's slightly less than Chrome Mox. Monovault, maybe. Glacial Chasm, agree. Lead enables a lot of combos. Yeah, and that's the only thing it does. You know, it's the Salvager combo. It's some other ones too, but... yeah, okay. You know, a lot of stuff enables a lot of combos. This one requires you to discard your hand to do it. A lot of other ones don't. I don't know. I shrug. Show off the huge red list? Alright. 2 cards. Jessica's Will. Disagree. No. It's Seething Song. What's the point here? Seething Song and exiles, and maybe exile 3 cards and play them. Okay. Yeah, it's one of the best red cards you're allowed to play with. Is it a game changer? I actually don't think so. So, disagree. Underworld Breach, easily agree. Yeah, it's... what if Yawgmoth's Will cost 2? Yep. The gamiest changer that ever game changed. But only 2, yeah. And one of them, I think they just put this on here to make it look like red had more than one good card. Who gets the next one? Green. I predict green has the next fewest. Because black is going to have all the tutors. White is going to have all the salty cards. And blue is going to have, I don't know, Ristic or something. Let's go green. 3. Survival of the fittest. Disagree. If survival of the fittest didn't cost $300, I don't know. Yeah, you can tutor for creatures, okay. If they're good creatures, then that's strong. If they're not good creatures, then whatever. Yeah, survival of the fittest, disagree. Vorncleck's Voice of Hunger. This is like a boomer card. Like a boomer watch list, you know? It is a game changer, I suppose. So, let me talk about why Vornclex, I agree. And Survival of the Fittest, maybe Lion's Eye Diamond, or Jessica's Will, I don't. When you sit down at a table, and you're playing the deck, Survival of the Fittest is like the most efficient, continuous creature tutor and graveyard manipulation ever, right? But you play a Vornclex, and everybody else at that table, if they're a mean average of all commander players, is going to be like, ugh, you're kind of a dick for playing this card. You're not kind of a dick for playing Survival of the Fittest. You got to see what happens first. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. You play Vornclex, and people are like, that's kind of mean, bro, you know? And to me, that's more what this should be about. And then Gaia's Cradle is the most absurd. Yeah, I obviously agree. So I actually agree with Vornclex, even though it's a boomer agree. And Survival of the Fittest is just a, you know, it's just a legacy card. It's really good. Multicolor? Oh, okay. Bunch of commanders. Keenan, okay, the best, one of the best commanders in the game. Goes infinite with a ham sandwich. You don't want to, like, accidentally your way into playing the most absurd Simic nonsense ever. Just to warn, this is like a warning for players. Hey, if you're playing this, people are gonna think you're stronger than you maybe are. Are we judging cards for what bracket? That's the whole point of the Game Changer system. It's bracket agnostic. It means that you should never see these cards in 1 or 2, and you should see a random 3 of them in 3, and then infinite, 40 of them over here. So it's, you look at the card and you're like, if you look at the card and you're like, I should never see this in Exhibition or Core, then it probably belongs in the list, maybe. Anyway, Keenan, Commander Ninjutsu, yeah, preposterous. Winota is just insanely strong, good deck. And Grand Arbiter, this is a funny one. We got Vornclex and Grand Arbiter. We got 2 boomers on the list. I don't even disagree necessarily. Growing Rights of Itlamok, yes, stay winning. Right. Basically 4 agrees. Yeah, I'll agree with all these. They could have expanded the list, even. Winota's maybe a corner case, but yeah. What about black? Yeah, we got every good black. All right, Bolas' Citadel. Actually, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, it's the thing you play to just win the game, right? Or get stupendous value. And that's so good that now everybody needs to deal with it. Yeah, sure, I agree. Demonic Tutor, disagree. Imperial Seal, disagree. Opposition Agent, agree. Strongly agree. Turgid, agree. Vampiric Tutor, disagree. Ad nauseum, agree. There we go. I don't care how efficient your tutors are. If you're searching for ladies looking left with them, I don't give a shit. But aside from that philosophical disagreement, there. No Necro on this list. You can play Necropotence in bracket 1. No limit. No limit, hold 'em. Bold move. That's a surprise. You just got to the part in the Poor Hammer video where you talked about Slays the Darkness and got so hyped up all over again. The way you talk about the army is what pulled you into AOS. Well, alright. Hey, you've chosen a really sick-ass army. I like slaves. It's a cool-ass army. Fridge Frazetta for life. White. Dranith Magistrate. I agree, yeah. I mean, obviously you just kill it, right? But if the first thing you think of is just shoot him, it's not on the list for you. You know, you should be above those brackets. If the first thing you think is, we'll just kill... Why doesn't someone simply kill the Dranith Magistrate if they don't like him? That means that you're above the bracket that it's meant for. Enlightened Tutor, disagree. Sarah Sanctum, agree. Smothering Tithe, agree. And they used the anime artwork of the ladies laughing at your tiny penis. I love it. Perfect. Look at them laughing. This is great. And then Trouble in Pairs. The plagiarism fucking artwork, sad, of this card. If an opponent would begin an extra turn, it skips it when their opponent attacks you with 2 or more creatures, or draws their second card, or casts their second spell. You draw, yeah, you just draw infinite cards with Trouble in Pairs. It's a 4 monoristic study, kinda. Scales up with the table size. Okay. Interesting. It's like, yeah, it's very good. You can kind of take over. You just finished your Chaos Lord and Warriors last week. You're about to start on the Knights. Smothering Tit. You disagree there? You're more likely to have removal for Dranith in lower bracket. People don't run much creature removal in CDH. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't... Keep in mind, I'm mostly speaking about this from a 1 through 4. I don't have a lot of experience in CDH because I don't play it. I'll be the first one to say that. I'm usually talking about it from afar. Anyway, I disagree on Enlightened Tutor. Dranith Magistrate, agree. Sarah, agree. Smothering Tithe, agree. Trouble in Pairs, maybe. The difference between double white and 4 versus 3 and single blue is big. And it requires your opponents to do a lot of extra stuff. But you can... Each of those, yeah, anyway. I'm just thinking about it out loud. No Yawgmoth's Will. They have so Underworld Breach is not okay, but if it costs 3 for Yawgmoth's Will, then it's fine. That's what we've learned. Yawgmoth's Will completely balanced, but if it costs 2, then it's not okay. Your video with Poor Hammer was great, Mr. Woe. If you are so inclined, I hope you do more with them because it was very enjoyable. Hey, thanks, Miyabi. I appreciate it. Yeah, I thought we had a good rapport, and we got some ideas for another show maybe in the future, but I don't know. It probably depends on whether this video does really well or not. They didn't tell me that, but it's just kind of how things work, right? Anyway, I hope this video does well, and I'd go back on. It was a good time. I'd go back on the podcast, and I would fix my sound this time. Jesus Christ. It was a question, you have 1 big and 1 small giant. Can you still soup them into stuff, or am I painting and building them purely for TTRPG purposes unless you get a full SOB army? I know that you can put one of the big giants. I don't know which ones, but there's a Army of Renown, or not Army of Renown, Regiment of Renown thing, where you can put one of the big ones into some other army and they got rules on it. And some armies even want that, depending. I don't think it's ever optimal, but in a bunch of armies, it's not that bad. So your project could actually be a project that ends up on the table as something. You can play ogres and put 1 Gargant in it as a Regiment of Renown, and it's not even that bad. So you could technically play with that. Which is cool because you came into it from a this is just cool perspective, and you might end up getting to play with it, which is kind of nice. Each GA has a different one, and you believe everyone can take Man Crushers now. Yeah, it's one per GA, yeah. And either Destruction can use any of them, or maybe there's just one that has to be Destruction. Which one gets the good one, though? That's my real question. Any knowers in chat? Which GA gets the good one? Gets access to the Gatebreaker, because that's the good one. Hopefully it's whatever GA that your other army is. Anyway. And finally, blue. Oof, look at all these blue cards. Cyclonic Rift, agree. Expropriate, agree. Force of Will, disagree a lot. Fierce Guardianship, embarrassing. It's a 1-for-1. Bro, this is a Swords to Plowshares that works on the stack that can only target non-creatures. What is this card doing on this list? Force of Will, same thing, except you 2-for-1 yourself. I'm not saying it's not a good card, I'm just also not saying it's a game changer. Good Smothering Tithe gives you infinite mana for the whole game. Rhystic Study gives you 30 cards over the course of... This thing requires you to play a ton of blue cards in your deck, so you have to change how your deck is built. And you can freely counter one time while you're tapped out. What is this? Weird. Okay, so super disagree with both of these. Rhystic Study, very much agree. Thassa's Oracle, agree. Sorry for people in the world who are pretending to play Thassa's Oracle legitimately. Urza. Yeah, I probably agree. Mystical Tutor, disagree. And Jin Gitaxias Core Augur. If he was ever actually getting played, I would agree, but I don't think this man has seen the tabletop in a long time. He's kind of like a boomer complaint. Like, he's kind of like Vorinclex, right? Like just some boomer complaint from 9 years ago when anyone remembered who he was. I mean, his effect is a good, like, example, but he's a payoff card. Maybe at best. Mystical Tutor is the most fair of all tutors. I mean, there are worse tutors, right? Like, Personal Tutor is worse, but... The amount of times you've played Jin Gitaxias on turn 2. I've played a turn 1 Jin Gitaxias like 100 times, but I used to play Reanimator in Legacy. How many times have I seen somebody snap out a super fast Reanimate in Commander? Few and far between. No Omniscience? Maybe. I mean, they did, like, Expropriate is kind of the same thing, right? Sorta. Jin Gitaxias is even boomier than Vorinclex. No one played Jin even then. Yeah, they really didn't. They could, but... Alright, list is weird. I get, like, you know, broken mistake commanders that people are going to be miserable playing against. Like, okay. Or things that are stronger than they look. Winota's a strange choice there. Cards that people that, like, boomers remember hating playing against, the most powerful lands ever. No Cabal Coffers. Random 1-for-1 free cards that counter a single non-creature. Fierce Guardianship just seems so out of place here. Mystical Tutor's weird. Bolus is Citadel, huh? Oppo Agent, sure. Okay, weird list. I don't know about it. Weird list. There aren't too many red game changers, because one of them I don't think even is. You sent my scorecard in DMs, or we're gonna check the score. Check the tapes. Guessed before. I did pretty good. I don't think I could have guessed Trinisphere beforehand if you gave me 3 weeks to stream about it. I should have guessed Expropriate, I guess. You know, looking back on it. This is like the cards that CEDH plays, the list. This is just a list of CEDH cards. And then some random boomer shit that I've never seen before in a real game. Oh, I can see it in a deck view. I should have done that. Show the breakdown. Colors, card types. Mana cost. 10, 1, 0, 3. Okay. Nice breakdown. It's weird to focus so hard on CDH, then have 4 and 5 so ill-defined. 5 is perfectly defined. 4 is poorly defined and huge. A wide tent. I think 4 might almost be worth 2 things, even. 4 is the one I'm most concerned about. Because you're in a pretty good stair climb here, and then you jump off a cliff, and they're just like, do whatever. This is huge. And I think you're going to see 4 split in half between people who want to play Legacy Battlecruiser and people who want to play the meanest cards ever, and suddenly they have a license to kill. It's like, well, they said that, 4 is where you can play anything, so if you don't want to play against Armageddon, you can't play in 4. I hope it doesn't become that, where it's like, hey, you like playing with broken cards like a counterspell for 0 that can only counter a non-creature spell, and Demonic Tutor, right? And Jeska's Will. And as soon as you add the 1 ring, as soon as you add the 4th powerful good card to your deck, that must mean that you love to play against Armageddon 14 Infinite Turns Seedborn Muse Winter Orb. And I think those 2 types of high power commander are very distinct. There's high power battlecruiser commander that just wants to play with the full card pool. And then there's, we like playing with the first 5 pages of the Salt score list. And so like the community hasn't changed, it's just the name of it has. I wonder how that's going to work out. Maybe nothing changes. I feel like at least a little bit it's going to be somewhat of a license. In the same way as everybody opens up their commander deck, and if they have 1 game changer, they look at it and they're like, oh, might as well put 2 more in because that's what you can do. I think that's going to happen a lot. And to a lesser degree, but maybe my concern is they're going to open up their tier 4 optimized and be like, well, fuck it. I'm putting Cataclysm in and Sunder because that's the only place you're letting me play with those cards, and it's just going to kind of muck up tier 4 a little bit. I wonder. As soon as you add in that Proxy Tabernacle, yeah. I feel like they don't specify this. It's just going to be on the community to shame the Salt Lords. I mean, that'll probably happen, but the whole point is to give people a warning before they get shamed. Somebody brand new to the game might not know. And the whole point of these kind of things here is to let a new player know, or a sheltered player or something, that, hey, people don't like those cards. Because otherwise, maybe you don't know. you know. Is it too cynical for you to think the folks at WotC who figured out spec'd hard on the obscure game changers on the list, well, they cost like 15 cents a card? Yeah, probably. Are there 15 cents? I mean, I would guess that because WotC owns this thing now, we are going to print some more cards. We are going to print a lot more cards. And I don't want to bring this into the ether. I don't want to summon this. But I'm going to. And I'm sorry. But what's one of the main reasons why everybody likes Commander? It's because it doesn't rotate. What happened to Modern? That's it. Just asking questions, Your Honor. Modern kind of rotates now when they come out with Modern Horizons 5 and 6. We're going to get some Commander Horizons, and it's going to become a thing, and Commander is going to start rotating. And we're going to see a lot more game changers. Anyway, please enjoy a word from our sponsors. I let that horrible news sink in. You know what we need right now? What level are Mr. Woe's decks? That's a great question. That's a great question. My guess is 4 for all of them. Some of them accidentally 3. But the ones that I own in real life, my guess is 4 for all of them. Because when people ask me, when I go up to a table and they're like, hey, what kind of Commander are you trying to play, right? I mean, I just played Commander with Finn the other day. What did I say? 8. You know, Commander level, power level, it's an 8. It's kind of a slow 8, but the power of the cards are an 8. It's not terrifically fast, but it's an 8. And that's what I say. And so I feel like the sentence, it's not particularly fast, but it's an 8, is close enough to a 4 out of 5, right? What does battle cruiser mean? It's a term that is, I want to say, older than Commander even. And its meaning has shifted a little bit over time, but the general consensus, or the general idea is a game of Magic where you're just kind of building a humongous, insane board state and sitting back, and no one can really, like, profitably attack into each other's massive, crazy board states until they draw something that, like, punches through. And so it looks like a battle cruiser, like a giant ship that has 7,000 guns on it. That's battle cruiser, is what that means. It means slower games that produce just crazy board states of millions of giant creatures and enchantments and planeswalkers, just everything. That's battle cruiser. It's virtually the opposite of CEDH, kinda, where...
Wait a minute, how big it is? Oh, okay.
Yeah, about that big. Wait a minute, how big it is? Oh, Thin Things at 200 bits. Appreciate it. Anyway, well, the power level of the cards is relatively the same between CEDH and, like, bracket 4 battlecruiser. Like, the power of the cards you're playing with is about the same. Your use case for them couldn't be more different, right? Like, CEDH is trying to precisely and efficiently produce wins as soon as they can, as reliably as they can, and cutting out all the fat with that power level of cards. But high power EDH, or bracket 4, wants to create absurd board states and play long games, just that happen to be with the most powerful cards ever. And so to me, that's really the nature of the difference a lot of times between about half of the people who play Bracket 4 and CDH. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. We're going to do competitive ones at Adepticon or what? I think that might be a fun game plan. You choose Bracket 1 and you try to make the most competitive. It's sort of like a different sort of CEDH, I guess, right? Because you're doing purposefully the wrong thing with how it was designed, but it could be fun as long as you don't get other people involved. Anyway, my decks. We got Garth Unlimited Boomer Works. It says so right here. It is a Bracket 4. Unlimited Game Changers. Vampiric Tutor, Demonic Tutor, Fierce Guardianship, Cyclonic Rift. It's only 4 of them. All I have to do is get rid of 1 Tutor or the best removal in the game. And then Garth might be chillin'. You're telling me all I have to do is drop 1 Vampiric Tutor and then I'm chilling in Bracket 3? Oh no, there's 5 other tutors. Because I have Wargate and Entomb and Vile Entomber. Okay. So why is Garth Unlimited Boomer Works in Bracket 4? Because I run a lot of tutors. Because I want to tutor for the things that build my funny castle and then play my funny castle cards and flicker Itali every turn until someone shoots me in real life, right? And keep tossing it. So that's a Bracket 4, and it's kind of close to a Bracket 3, but probably not. It's got infinite combos in it, but they're late game. They're certainly not early game infinites, and none of them are two card. I think the most efficient win con I have is a 3-card infinite. Garth and a haste effect and Displacer Kitten, so a 3-card infinite. That's as close as we get. So that's tier 3. This could be a tier 3 if I got rid of a bunch of the tutors, which I don't want to do because they're fun, and the deck doesn't work unless it has haste and a flicker thing. I have to like build a stupid castle. So I really do need all the tutors. I guess I could get rid of Entomb and Vile, but anyway, something to think about. So that one's like maybe kind of close. What about the Garbage Truck? Greed is good. Bracket 4. How come? Because of all the tutors and the One Ring. And Razaketh. The code is more what you'd call guidelines than actual rules. Yeah, once again, Imperial Seal, Vampiric Tutor, Demonic Tutor, the One Ring, Razaketh is technically a tutor, that counts. You can sack a lot of zombie tokens for Razaketh. I do have infinites in here, of course. Well, actually, Palinkron and Cabal isn't an infinite 2-card. You need an Urborg, so it's a 3-card, you know. 42 lands that are all different. Field of the Dead. Okay. This one could drop down to a 3 as well. If I got rid of exactly just like Imperial Seal. All I have to do is get rid of Imperial Seal, and this is a Bracket 3. Because I think you're allowed 3 unlimited tutors and 3 game changers, so. Palincrons are $40 now, are they? You are right. Ugh. Alright. Hey, alright. Did WotC just make a complicated system to replace the just talk to people? No. They created a system for socially awkward people to help them talk to people at the start of Commander. But someone else in the pod will be playing Urborg, so it's a 2-card. Oh, true, yeah. Okay, so this one's the closest one. All I have to do is I could get rid of like one Vampiric Tutor, right? And then it's bracket 3, and we're perfectly fine. I might even do that. Because maybe I would get rid of the One Ring, actually. If I'm making a 4th Commander deck, I'm going to want the One Ring in it, right? And this shit's $100 now. I don't have another $100 to spend. So we'll just take the One Ring out. I don't have a win con with it anyway, right? I'll just take the One Ring out. And now the deck is... Oh no, actually I can't, because the problem is I have 4 Game Changers, which are all tutors except for the One Ring, and then 4 unlimited tutors. And since the tutors are the same thing on each of them, I actually do have to take out a tutor. But then it's bracket 3. And I can, I can play my Azusa and Crop Rotate and Exploration and... Sowing Myco Spawn to my heart's content, and we're good. Bracket 3. Easy. Annihilator probably falls in the land denial stuff. Spiritually, yes. However... These cards regularly destroy, exile, and bounce other lands, keep lands tapped, or change what mana is produced by 4 or more lands per player without replacing them. So I think Annihilator 3 is completely okay. Annihilator 2, fine. Annihilator 3, fine. Annihilator 4, maybe not fine. Annihilator completely endorsed. Anyway, this is beta, right? So... Okay, Garbage Truck is about to be my tier 3. And the interesting thing is, I consider my Garth deck to be my slowest, worst one. And Glarb is quite a bit better. But it's lower, it's closer to a lower bracket. Interesting. And then Ardenkrom, Weeabo, Fightan Magic is very, very bracket 4. We're not going to escape bracket 4 in this one, boys. We are very firmly, this is like Game Changers deck. It almost moves into in front of the webcam there. Yep. Fierce Guardianship, Enlightened Tuda. Urza, Smothering Tithe, the One Ring, Cyclonic Rift. Yeah, we're kind of just blasting. We're getting all of it. None of it's fair. Deflecting SWAT is marked safe. That's curious to me. Because Fierce Guardianship isn't a game changer. It's a negate you can cast when your mana is tapped. Deflecting SWAT is one of the big playmakers, like change the game kind of cards, I think. Redirecting a draw 7. Or someone cracking that brand new jeweled Lotus thing for 60 white mana, and you can Deflecting SWAT that. I think this one produces more game changer plays than simply countering an instant or sorcery, but that's just me. Yeah, this is just kind of a pile of game changer cards that I can't really make any excuses for. We're trying to go infinite with 2 cards in tons of different ways. The only saving grace to this deck is that it wants to attack to win, which is a bad way to win. So, yeah, we're big time bracket 4. I can't escape from that here. No wonder you lose every game when you're playing your Orc and Frog tribal. Your pals are playing Bracket Vibes. But what about Stifle? Stifle is marked safe. I am playing it, but it's not on the list. Oh, hold on. What about that CJU Busta deck that I made? Bracket 3, we're safe. Only 3 game changers, which is just all the tutors, right? Because that's how you build decks in this game. Cool. All right, so the deck I made for CJ, that one's bracket 3, we're safe. What about Torsten, founder of Drawing 7? Tribal. We have Atraxa Grand Unifier at home. It says it's bracket 3. Oh yeah, this is the thing. It says it's bracket 3, but it doesn't update. I only have 2 tutors, which is Captain Sisay and Magus of the Order, and I have no game changers. This is actually bracket 1. I have no mass land denial. I have no extra turns. I play 0 game changers, and I only have 2 tutors, which is even fine for bracket 1. And the tutors are like kind of goofy because they have summoning sickness. Captain Sisay and Magus of the Order, that's it. Bracket 1, draw 7 tribal, 59 creature Torsten. And what does the deck do? Well, it ramps like crazy in the first few turns, and then it draws a million cards and plays like Galta or Miojin Life's Web or Miojin of Blooming Dawn into Craterhoof Behemoth or Moonshaker Cav or Zopendrol or Cultivator Colossus. So it does like absurdly stupid win out of nowhere and fill the board with crap, but technically it's bracket 1 because it's just a little Selesnya deck. And it's certainly the most casual of my decks. I haven't built this in real life. This is just like a test. Ahem. There's more. Good evening, good sir. Someone handsome, unknown, but cool person uploaded in Giga Full Gits Tome. Will you review it? Absolutely. It won't be this stream, because I just went live for a quick stream to go over all the brand new breaking Commander news. But now that somebody put the Gits book in Giga and they're a fucking Chad, who could it be? Oh, it's Nezermore. Yeah, we always cite our sources to Nezermore if people care, because I consider it a community service to put scans of stuff in here so that people can see the rules for the game. I appreciate it. But yes, definitely going over the entire Gloomspite Gits. I heard it's not as bad as we were prepared for, I heard. So it might be like even perhaps a positive stream in some ways, but it's going to be a long one of those where I read everything, and it'll be 4 hours. Thinking maybe Thursday or Friday on that. But yeah, next stream we're going over the whole Gits for sure. And until then, you can look at it yourself in Discord, Giga. Are there any other funny ones that are like technically bracket? I do have some bracket 2s. That one's not done. That's an old one. Oh yeah, Rada Cascade into Washboard Abs. This is technically a bracket 2. It's got nothing. It might even be a bracket 1. No game changers, no land denial, no extra turns, no tutors. I don't think. Like, the whole point is you play Rada on turn 2, and then on turn 3 you play one of every single Sky Shroud claim in the game, right? So you just play all the 4 mana, get 2 land ones, and your Rada is technically like a mana elf that you always have in your hand, and you just jump to 6 mana. And you play like a bunch of Cascade cards and stuff for 6. It's stupid Gruul stuff. And every Cascade card kind of doubles as free ramp, because you're going to Cascade into your ramp most of the time. And then, you know, we got Sunbird's Invocation and Chameel and Trumpeting Carnosaur and Let the Galaxy Burn. And Itali and Stalking Vengeance and Vicious Shadows and Call the Forge Tempest and Insurrection, Apex Devastator, a bunch of Eldrazi. The Great Aurora, so we tap all our lands and float mana and cast the Great Aurora. Put a bunch of new lands out and float even more, and then it's almost like a Storm deck in a way. Anyway, Annihilator 4, it's not bracket 1. It can't be Annihilator 4, it's gotta be 3 or less, that's why. So if I get rid of the 2 Annihilator 4s, then we can get this thing down the bracket 1. It produces kind of silly board states, though. That's wrong. You played that. It's wrong. Free Grenzo Dungeon Delver. Yeah. Where is he? Do I have him here? He might be in a different bucket. Yeah, everything else is 4s and 3s and just normal stuff. Polymorph decks and Zakama as the commander. Secret Commander Solemn Simulacrum is bracket 3. How come? Oh, yeah, okay. Bracket 3 because I'm playing Cyclonic Rift, Force of Will, and Fierce Guardianship. And I have 2 out of the 3 extra turn cards and a bunch of unlimited tutors. Because the whole point is that you tutor up Solemn Simulacrum, like it's the Secret Commander. And so I'm running all the things that find that Secret Commander. And you win with infinite extra turns, which is definitely not what they want you to do. A little capture of Jinzo. If you make a bracket 1 but CEDH, what bracket is that? Truly, it's CEDH. I mean, by the letter of the law, we're being funny, right? But, you know, they took great pains to talk about the spirit and the mindset of stuff in the article, if we're being fair. And I think they acknowledged at the beginning that, yeah, Magic is a game that trains people to game systems. So you could make a bracket 1 deck that will destroy every bracket 1 table in the whole world. But you will know what you're doing when you do it, and they're not going to want to play with you again. So I think I'll take them at that. You know, I'll agree. Yeah, probably true. What the fuck is this? Oh, Hash-a-ton. Okay. But Hash-a-ton. Jack Miller, Fox 30 News. Alright, is this it? I feel like now I can finally build a commander deck that's completely legal. No law breaking allowed. I can finally build my Lonus Crypto Rug Pullologist. That's really just Lantern of Insight control from Old Modern. Except in Commander with like Field of Dreams and stuff. It'll be great. People will love it. Just found out most of your decks are listed as estimated bracket 1 or 2. That means you can play with anyone. The lower bracket you're in, the more people you can play with. Now, it's possible that a bracket 1 might not have a terribly large amount of fun getting pounded by bracket 4s or something, but, you know, I think what this does in general is like, if you're going to own 4 commander decks, you should probably have a bracket 1, a bracket 2, a bracket 3, and a bracket 4, or something like that, right? Or maybe a 2, 3, 4, and a CEDH or whatever. Or 4 bracket 4s, whatever. What about Wood Elemental? Game changer. What about Wood Elemental Tribal? That's a bracket 1. So yeah, everything's a 3 and 4, but these are all like random TTS decks that I was attempting to build. Oh, Karametra, God of Cheerios, that's a bracket 2. Plays with every creature for 0 in the colors. That's fun. It's not, actually. Deck's not fun to play. If Miss at the gas station, he's not done, though. Yeah, everything's just 3s and 4s. I like to play with legacy cards. Who knew? Never put the moral imperative into the hands of Magic players. Well, yeah, probably not, but Leyline of the Void isn't the game changer. I think it's a good name, you know? It's a game changer. But then again, because you don't want to call it, like, problematic cards or the gray list or something. A game changer, like, this thing is so strong that it warps the concept of what even the deck is or something like that. I kind of agree with the nomenclature. It's just then you're going to use it against them. And I will too, because you kind of can't help it, right? It'd be like Jessica's Will, right? Half the time it's a seething song. Game changer. This changes the game. You know, mystical tutor. Game changer. I have 1 Chrome Mox in my deck. Game changer. You know, it's kind of silly, right? Necropotence, not a game changer, right? You can, of course, we could do that forever, and it's funny. It's, like, funny, too, but I think this is, like, a reasonably good start. This is way less shitty than I thought they would do, or that I hoped they wouldn't do, I guess. And I appreciate all of their clarifications and just, hey, think about this for a second. Don't shoot me. But, you know, this thing, and yeah, it's a beta test, and of course people can lie, and blah, blah, blah. This is probably better than I was anticipating. The main problems to me are that their obsession with tutors is misplaced, and it gums up the entire game changer section. And number 4 is ill-defined, and it's too big of a tent. You fall off a cliff after 3, and 4 is as far from CEDH as it is from 2. Like, so this one, the number 4 is the problem one, I think. And some of the game changers, I think, are like, I'm like beside myself. I can't even imagine how you could consider Fierce Guardianship a game changer. Expropriate, Cyclonic Rift, Gaia's Cradle, like, very obviously, yes. Underworld Breach. I was trying to think about what are they going to do that I don't agree with in a meme way, but I feel like if it's a game changer, it should be unequivocally a game changer. Like, everyone should be able to be like, yeah, obviously, you know. And too many of these are just stuff that casuals don't like for no good fucking reason, right? Fierce. Mystical Tutor. A creature that hasn't seen play since 2015. Mox Diamond, which is just on here as far as I can see because it's expensive. I don't know. Anyway. Better than I thought they would do, but still kind of memey. I appreciate all the thought they put into it. Obviously, we just disagree about stuff philosophically, you know, right? Like, I think tutors are about only as problematic as the cards you're tutoring for. They think Arcane Signet was a mistake. So, you know, a little column A, a little column B. Not for nothing, but if you can chain extra turns together and not win on the spot, what's wrong with you? Yeah, there is a difference between building your deck so the win con is simply going infinite turns versus just putting 11 infinite turn cards in there and randomly drawing them over and over, but like doing nothing on your turns. Don't do that, I guess. Upside, plenty of duels and vampirics in there, yeah. You got your HS trade binder full of revised out of your family's closet. Need to get it sold off soonish. Haven't really had fun in Magic since the Fairy Tale set a few years back. The Fairy Tale set? Which one was that? Gimme in Bloomborough? Well, that wasn't a few years back. Wait. If Bloomborough was a few years back, are you about to tell me the PS2 was 20 years ago or some shit? Is that what this is? It can't be that Bloomborough was a few years. Oh, Eldraine. Okay, yeah, no. Alright. We're safe. I thought you were about to do it to me. Okay, yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, Eldraine, and that was the Fairy Tale set, and it was a few years ago. Yeah, it had Questing Beast in it. The creature that everyone forgets the fourth ability it has. And which fourth ability that they forget is a kind of a musical chairs of which one they're forgetting. Man has a lot of abilities. It's okay, PS2 wasn't 20 years ago. Closer to 25. I had to give the Zoomers something to watch. 25 years. Oh, is it super loud? Sorry. I should have warned you. Hey, that's it. I tried to give my roundup thoughts. I'm gonna make a video. I might distill these thoughts and make a little short video as feedback. They want feedback. I'll try to give it. No Teferi Protection is wild. I really was expecting Teferi's Protection. Not gonna lie. I was expecting Teferi's Protection. I was not expecting Jessica's Will. I like how, I mean, you could just think of like a million cards, right? You could list like 400 cards and argue for them. Oh yeah, what's the roadmap? Speaking of, I was about to end it, but what's the roadmap? They're gonna beta test this at MagicCon Chi-Town. The goal here, provided the system works, will be to come back with one big article in late April that both rolls out the full system. This is only part of the system. And any unbans altogether, which is going to be like probably most of them. And as we said back in October, no bans will be happening at that time, just potentially some unbans. So if you're eager to hear about the unbans, late April is the date to circle on your calendar. If anything changes in the timeline, we'll let y'all know. The schedule is, of course, contingent on this system directionally working. If it doesn't, back to the drawing board. Once we're through that, we'll work out on a regular cadence for updates when you know you can hear from us. And hopefully that clues you in a bit to what to expect soon. All right, I appreciate their explanations. Oh wait, there's Commander Bracket Q&A. All right. I don't like this. Do I have to use it? No. It's your game, right? Why is X card on the Game Changers list? True. Let me break down the reasons. All of the tutors, be it the best ones, or ones that are arguably not even that great, these are best in class, but okay, and tend to find combo pieces. Well, I don't know about that. See, here's my problem with it. These tutors are going to find Dovin's Acuity and Norin the Wary and Shared Fate in a bad deck. And they're going to find Game Changers in a normal deck. And they're going to find crazy stuff in a good deck. Homogenize the game? Not unless you have like 17 of them. A commander homogenizes the game. You play with that guy every time. Maybe you want your commander and one other card, like the Ozolith. Is that homogenizing to have the Ozolith out all the time? I don't know. I fundamentally disagree with this a little bit. Drannith Magistrate, Oppo Agent, Trinospheric Glacial Chasm, Tabernacle. These efficiently lock out your opponent's ability to use their cards, often in frustrating ways. Agree. Agree. Really don't agree. And I think I'm pretty much in the right here. Trinisphere belongs on this list if this was a tournament format where every card in everyone's deck costs 1, but not in Commander. Glacial Chasm, maybe. Tabernacle, lesser so, but maybe. This is a weird one to me. Maybe I'm missing something huge. Chrome Mox, Grim Mono, Mox Diamond, Mono Vault, Ancient Tomb. Just a blanket amount of the best fast acceleration that costs almost nothing. Yeah. Fast mana pieces that accelerate the game, just generically speaking. Doesn't really matter what their downside is, just generically fast accelerants. Which I think is like safe to call out, to be honest. Smothering Tide, Trouble in Pairs, Ristic Study, The One Ring. I don't know why Jessica's Will is in this category. And then Bolus's Citadel, which is simply a infinite win con with Sensei Stop. These provide overwhelming resource advantage for their mana. Yeah, except this is more of a combo win. And this is a Seething Song, once. But these other ones, I probably agree. Like, this is a one-time card, right? And these stay out. That's a big difference. Foreign Collects. The boomers are still mad about this card. Led Underworld Breach ad nauseum, just like super good win cons. Thassa's Oracle might as well be in this list. Combo and Storm cards. Cradle and Sarah Sanctum. These lands provide absurd mana. You could almost put Cabal Coffers in here, even though it's obviously a step down from these two. Ever gonna react to more classes in new D&D? Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for the Monster Manual to fully come out. I know we had previews of it. I'd like to go over it. It'd be like a 9-hour stream, but I want to read about it anyway, you know? But yeah. I do want to look into it. I gotta say, I don't like what I've read about 5.5 so far. But it's mostly because I was hoping that the game would go this way, and it went that way. Well, actually, it didn't really go anywhere. It just kind of did this. So, but maybe that's all different. Food Chain, yeah, Food Chain's really good. It's a really good win con. You can win with your commander with it sometimes, depending on what your commander is. Thassa's Oracle is simply the best way to win the game. Cyclonic Rift is the best in class way to reset everybody else in commander, often in a not very fun way. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of a one-card win condition if you think about it. So I don't disagree. Expropriate, you kind of win. Your opponents get a choice that's not really a choice, and it's more insulting that it is a choice. But yeah, you just win for 9. Jin Gataxias. If you just look at his text box, I get it. I don't know who plays it, but maybe some people play it. Oh, good. They talk about the free counterspells because I hugely disagree, and I want to hear their reasoning. Jessica's is a win con and a lot of CDH. It's just behind Thassa's and Breach, I think. Okay. Sounds like a card that belongs in CDH for playing it in that way. And when it's played in a tier 2 deck, it's going to be a Seething Song and nothing else, right? Like, I don't know. But maybe I'm too set in my ways about the kind of player who's playing the kind of bracket or something like that. Maybe I'm too formulaic like that. Are there any cards you can use as commanders in the Welcome decks? Welcome decks? Isn't the Monster Manual released now? Probably. I remember a preview of it a while ago, but I can't say. You liked the Porehammer video? Would love to see the roles reversed and hear your initial takes on 40k archetypes, even if you don't like the game that much. It's not that I don't like 40k. I just have no interest in playing it. It's different. I don't like Pokemon. But 40k, I just have no interest in playing. One of the videos, when we were just chatting, you know, before and after the podcast with the Poor Hammer guys are like, oh, what about another video? What potentially could happen? And one of them was like, AOS guy is new to 40k and, you know, your dad tries to name all the Pokemon, you know, except AOS guy versus 40k. That could be a thing. Anyway, there's some cool, fun video ideas. Maybe they'll want me back. Maybe they won't. We'll see. But it was fun to be on. It was a good show. Anyway, Fierce Guardianship and Force of Will. Free counterspells are much debated. They are powerful and often protect your engine. Yes. Yeah, that's the point. And they cost 0 instead of 1 or 2. Guardianship doesn't put you down a card to cast it. And Force of Will can counter anything, including commanders, and works on your turn, which often is used to protect your combos. I think it's often used to protect your commander from dying, to be perfectly honest with you. Fierce Guardianship is a free heroic intervention probably half the time. I just, you know, I'm thinking about cards that produce 20 mana for 1 land drop. I'm thinking about cards that draw you net 20 cards over the course of a game for 1 card. I look at, and maybe I can't, it's my fault, I can't break out of this. I look for a 1-for-1, right? Fierce Guardianship. Spend 1 card, stop 1 card. Has to be a non-creature. And it just doesn't, to me, it doesn't compare at all. It's 1 card. Like, would you put Counterspell on here? Would you put Mana Drain on here? I just don't agree. Like, it doesn't spin the game wildly out of everyone else's control if you cast Fierce Guardianship 1 time. Jin-Gitaxias would, right? Like, if you just have him on the table, yeah. Gaia's Cradle, yeah, you know. Ad Nauseam, Underworld Breach, sure, but a game changer? No, you just keep your commander alive for an extra turn for free. I don't know. Maybe I'm downplaying it too much. They're thinking about all the other things you could be playing and protecting, but that's those things' problem, really. Force of Negation was left alone since it only counters non-creatures like Fierce Guardianship, and only works on opponent's turn, unlike Fierce Guardianship. Death Number, thanks for the big cardboard discussions. Appreciate it. Whereas Pact, though? Pact pretty much only has to protect your win con, which is the thing that they're concerned about, apparently. But doesn't belong. Mindbreak Trap, fine. Pact, fine. I don't buy it. I don't buy this whole paragraph. Nope. If you're so mad about those crazy other powerful cards, then do something about them. Kinnan, Yuriko, Winota, Grand Arbiter Augustin, Turgrid, and Urza. I want to be very careful with the legendary creatures we hit. I'm actually surprised about Winota. It's not that Winota isn't strong. She's actually crazy strong. Especially for Boros. It's just like a bunch of CEDH commanders. And then Grand Arbiter. And non-CEDH, but also salty that no one wants to play against kind of thing. We wanted to be very... Oh, so you're choosing these just to keep them out of brackets 1 and 2. In other words, you reinvented the not as a commander list. I thought we didn't want banned as a commander, but they just said that's why they did it. Interesting. Yeah, Winota is finally a non-equipment commander in Boros, and that's not okay. Gives you an easy way, hey, I don't want to play against that commander. However, after a lot of discussion, it felt like these 6 were almost never used fairly when played as commanders. Almost never used fairly when played as commanders. You know how often Demonic Tutor is used fairly? I would say most of the time. I've tutored for a lot of swamps in my day. Anyway, why isn't Soul Ring on the Game Changers list? Because it's Soul Ring and it's Commander. Card deck should be on the list. Why isn't it? We talked about a ton of cards. Send us your feedback. Yeah, sure. No problem. I'm not trying to put any cards on the Game Changer list. I want people to play with fun stuff. What does it mean if my commander is on the Game Changers list? It means your type of fun is toxic to other people, and everyone secretly hates you. But they're too nice to tell you. So this is how you have to learn. I didn't mean to be that harsh, and I don't really believe it, but I mean, if you believe you have an exhibition or core deck using braids, then or Urza, then try to explain it to everyone. No, you don't get it. My Turgid is fair. You'll love it. You will enjoy yourself playing against my Grand Orbit or Augustine. It'll be tons of fun for you. I'm different. Why are there 5 brackets? Doesn't it kind of boil down to 3? No. This is a dumb question. It really doesn't. You could argue, and I would listen to you argue, that 1 and 2 are kind of close to each other. I would listen to that argument. I would entertain that. Yeah. If you just look at these things and you don't listen to any of their explanation, 1 and 2 are maybe too close to each other, or maybe is there a reason for 1 to really exist? I could hear that. 4 and 5 on this list look really close to each other. But in real life, they couldn't be far, like they're so far away from each other. I think that's a failing of this list and table more than that. So yeah. No, it doesn't boil down to 3. 4 and 5 are very, very different. More different than the list gives them credit for, which is actually a concern of mine. There is an audience that would really like to play a commander game below the level of pre-constructed decks. I think that's true. I would just want nothing to do with it, ever. Disgusting. But it doesn't mean they're wrong, it just means I don't want to play with them, that's all. I've never built a purely goofy deck in my life, but now that I know I have terminology, I won't either. All right. Felt like there's a difference between high power and CDH worth quantifying. Yeah, there is. I don't know that you got it. Additionally, a great point was that CDH already has done exactly what we're trying to do here with a label that indicates what kind of game you're looking for. They have earned that official labeling by virtue of it proving to have worked. Hey, good sentence. Good work. My best deck has no game changers and is technically a bracket 2. Should I play it there? Bitch. Please. I think you know. I think you know the answer to that question. You should play where you think you belong based on the descriptions. For example, if your deck has no holds barred power despite playing 0 game changers, then you should play in bracket 4 where you belong. Yeah. That being said, it's going to be very fun to build bracket 1 CEDH decks, right? But just as a thought experiment, right? Or like a $10 chuck kind of thing. Or I want to make a deck with all 40 game changers, but it's just actually terrible. It's just a pile of random independently good crap. 40 game changers, 50 land, and 9 ramp. And then like a 5-color commander. People ask me what bracket? 4. Ogun. My best deck? Yeah, okay. Why 3 cards from Game Changers list for bracket 3? Well, consider this. If a bracket 3 deck can have 3 cards, you've repeated the number 3, so it's easy to remember. That's a arbitrary but not the worst tidbit, I guess, of info. And secondly, if you let everybody have 3 game changers, in bracket 3, then a pod has 9 game changers and 4... not 9. I'm thinking of everyone but you. Then a pod has 12 game changers and 4 soul rings floating around in it. That's a lot that's going to be happening, right? If you let people play with 4, there's 16 and 4 soul rings. Just floating around the bathtub, right? So, you got to consider it probably in a pod, X4 kind of thing rather than just in one deck as well. Child of Alara, Game Changers. The Game Changer. The commander for all the Game Changers just has to be Kenrith. There isn't a better choice. Because he is the Game Changer commander man, right? How worried should I be about labeling my dick correctly and finding my exact bracket to play with? Not very. If you think yours is a 3, it happens to be a 4, and everyone else is 3, then they'll just gang up on you if you start to win. That's the cool thing about Commander. How can I use this system practically? Use your words. Why is chaining extra turn spells called out specifically? Asks extra turn spell chainer enjoyer at gmail.com. Okay. What if my deck accidentally has a combo or finds a way to chain extra turn spells? Then you will be arrested and you'll go to Guantanamo Bay. Is this the same as the power bracket announced last year? I mean, it clearly started as that, but it got better. That thing we saw before Las Vegas last year was way worse than this. So they have been doing stuff. I appreciated that. We wanted to move away from the word power, which is why these are called commander brackets. Swords of Plowshares and Counterspell are incredibly powerful cards, but they're also totally fine for games of Commander. Man, I wish they would read their own words when they're looking at Fierce Guardianship and that, but okay. It's fine. You didn't really talk about mana base at all. Is there guidance for that? Yeah. Yeah, you play with fetch lands. There's my advice. If you're making a mana base, play with every fetch land you possibly can. Some game changers have shown up in recent pre-constructed decks. Yeah, that's kind of weird, like Jessica's Will. But not as weird as Jessica's Will being on the game changer list. However, the pre-constructed level of core allows for 0 game changers. Is this like Umezawa's Jite being in that one pre-constructed deck for Type 2? And they banned it, but then they allowed you to play it as long as you didn't modify it? Same with the Stoneforge Mystic one when Cawblade got banned. It's true the bracket 2 is the average modern day pre-constructed level, but the emphasis is on average. Honor Horizons 3 commander decks and Secret Lair decks aren't in that mix. And our places these cards can go. Yeah, okay. If you're playing an actual pre-con that happens to have Jessica's Will, no one cares. Will you intentionally begin designing cards that go straight in the game changers list? Well, no, but also yes. I mean, not really, but yeah. Intentionally straight to? No, but I mean, kinda, yeah. I don't know if anyone in the world believes this paragraph. Shut it down. Is there a way for online tools I use to easily tell me what bracket my deck is? Yeah, we got Scryfall on it, the workhorse of the whole internet. Archadeck, disgusting. Moxfield based. I play Magic Online. Sorry to hear that. Can you help me out here? Daybreak Games 3 employees above a noodle shop and below a bowling alley will try to get their dog to program part of it 6 months from now. Give them thoughts and prayers. You're talking to CJ in Wide Gaming, and you have about 30 instant ads. Wide Gaming, huh? Alright. Anyway, this is better than I thought it was going to be, and much better explained. than it could have been. And although I obviously philosophically disagree with about 30% of all of it, it's a much better place than it was before. And all they have to do is fix a thing or two, and I don't know, we'll see about it. Good work. I said it was going to be a short stream. I guess we're 3 hours in. So the prediction was completely correct. I'm like, it's going to be a short stream. And I think Ortorius is like, so 3 hours then. Yeah, so 3 hours then. Thanks for watching. A lot of people came in here about the Poor Hammer thing. Thanks for liking that. Hopefully I can do another one in the future if this video does well, because it was a good time. I will see you Thursday or Friday for the whole Giats book, which is in Giga right now on our Discord. And maybe a monster manual thing in the future, but certainly not this week. Anyway, TY for showing up. Have a nice evening. I'll see you Thursday and or Friday.